Hey, what is going on, guys? It is your boy Cakeman, and I am back with another Destiny 2 guide. Today we're going to be covering the Dawnblade, which is a subclass for the Warlock, and I will be doing it the same as the last guide that I did for the Gunslinger, which I will be going over like the PvE, PvP aspects of things, and also give it an N rating for both, and give you guys some tips and tricks that you guys might find pretty useful while playing in both of those areas of the game. So hopefully you guys enjoy this build, and before we get right into it, make sure you guys drop a like on the video and subscribe if you have not already. And guys, let's hop right into the actual build itself. Alright guys, so let's get right into this build. First we're going to start off with the passives. So right now we have Heat Rises, and it says airborne kills recharge your grenade melee energy, which is kind of pretty situational for PvP, which I like to play. If you guys saw any of my other gameplay, well actually I haven't posted it yet, but it's coming soon if you guys want to see any of that. But that seems like a really good thing for PvE because the recharge time is kind of obnoxious. And then next we have Wing Sun, engage your enemies mid-flight, fire weapons and throw grenades while gliding. So see, these kind of pair together, Heat Rises and Wing Sun, so that's actually pretty nice for PvE. We're not sure what other passives they're going to give us for the actual game itself when it does release, but that is a nice combo for PvE. And then we have Swift Strike, strike an enemy with this melee ability to burn your target and temporarily increase your movement and reload speed. So this is pretty nice, but the burn, I don't really see it like functioning very well whenever I'm playing. I don't really see like a really good damage output, so I feel like it's kind of useless. You guys can tell me what you think about it, but I really don't see it working. I think what you need is Igniting Touch, which I believe was in the last game, but you need an upgrade point to get that, and it's, I guess, the tier 1 of this like little build down here. But yeah, I think that'll be up in the actual game itself. Of course, not right now because we still are in beta phase, so I'm trying to make the best out of what we've got right now. Alright, so next we have the Icarus Dash, and this is kind of like the Hunter Dodge, you know, where you double tap circle, except the catch to this is you have to be mid-air, and you are kind of easy to hit, but it's nice because the Warlock glide is pretty slow. So next we have grenades, and we have first we have the solar grenade, which is very nice, especially if someone's like trapped behind a shield or if there's just enemies pushing like crazy. Then we have the firebolt grenade, which is good for catching people around corners, kind of like the Axion bolt grenade if you guys are familiar with that on the Voidwalker subclass. And lastly we have the fusion grenade. For me personally, I think all three of these grenades are great. It's just really how you like to play, and probably for PvP, if you like to hold down zones, go for a solar grenade. If you like to just try to catch enemies that are like straggling and getting away, go for the firebolt. And if you just go head on, just go for the fusion grenade. It does some nice damage if you can land it. Next we have the, I guess, circle abilities, or whichever button it is for you guys to crouch. So first we have Healing Rift, which drops like a AoE thing around your guy. Wherever it is, like, it just stays there. It doesn't move with your Warlock. But if you stand inside of it, and including teammates stand inside of it, it will heal you. And vice versa, Empowering Rift, if you and your teammates stand it, you'll get increased damage output, which is also very nice. I don't think this is all that great, the Empowering Rift, so I like to stick with Healing Rift. And one other thing to note is it does not burn enemies that walk inside of it like the Titan shield. So keep that in mind. If you are getting pushed, dropping that might not always be the best idea, but you do get an overshield, which is also very nice, which it doesn't mention here, but it helps a lot. And then next we have our 3 jumps. I personally actually like the balance glide, even though most of the time I go for burst glide or the strong initial burst jump. But for this one I kind of like the directional, especially because you can pair it with Wing Sun and Heat Rises. So really it's all preference to you guys, but you know, that's just me. Alright guys, so that is my current build for the Destiny 2 beta, and I'm not sure if much will change, but I'm giving you guys the best of what I've got here, and if anything does change, I will make sure to let you guys know. And also, let's take into consideration that upgrade points do have a big, like, controlling factor on how good the output of each subclass may be, so do keep that in mind. But nonetheless, let's get into the weapons I like to use. So for the Warlock, I was really liking using the pulse rifle. The one I was using in the video itself most of the time was the Negril, I think 4. It was a really solid gun, and I thought it was really nice because of the range really that the Warlock had to keep, because it's not as mobile as something such as a Hunter per se, or really up in the face of the opponent just like the Titan maybe. So it was kind of a nice mix, especially if you threw in a hand cannon like I did to finish off any enemies that were like straggling behind the rest of the group or trying to get away from you guys. And it just was a really nice combination, so I would advise trying that in PvP and PvE. One pretty big downside that I noticed to this Warlock itself is the grenades really weren't all that effective, unlike the Voidwalker counterpart of the Dawnblade Warlock. And that is because really it just didn't offer like the effectiveness of the grenades such as the Voidwalkers, other than really, like, at least for the PvP side of things. The main reason behind me saying this is because the fusion grenade, which was the last grenade in the build, can actually stick to enemies, which really doesn't do a whole ton of damage, and it does have quite a bit of a delay. And then the firebolt grenade really had horrible tracking. I don't know what was wrong with it. Hopefully they'll choose to fix that before the actual game releases. And the solar flare, it was a really good choice. I probably would either consider that or firebolt overall, but they were really like selective grenades. Like, you can either kill 1 or 2 targets with it, and if you got lucky, the solar flare, a bunch of things just ran right through it and died. So really that is the major downside to this Warlock, and of course it had the rifts like I mentioned in the build, which was a really nice addition. I like to use it whenever hiding around corners so I can peek over, peek back, and then just stay alive, be able to keep that sustainability. Whether I have the healing rift or the damage rift, it really didn't matter. You just have to play it safe with this Warlock because they are slow, but you can take advantage of that Icarus dash, which I really don't see very many Warlocks using. I think it's really they just forget. I know myself personally, I forget all the time. So whenever you are playing as Dawnblade and you are rocking the Icarus dash, make sure to take advantage of that as much as possible. It can really help, especially if you're playing in PvE and you're falling. You can actually use it to like break the fall and not take any damage, which is a nice little tip. While we are still on the topic of dashes, or the Icarus dash, one thing that I did want to include that is not included in the super description for the Warlock Dawnblade variant, or whichever thing you want to call it, is whenever you jump and like double tap circle or like do the Icarus dash in the super, you can do it like an infinite amount of times. It's pretty cool, and you fly way further, and it's really nice. A little tip that they don't throw in there that I just wanted to share with you guys that you guys might find interesting. And also, since we have been talking about abilities, the melee itself is actually very nice. I really don't see a downside to it, and it has a nice little burn ability or effect to it. So really, the grenade is the major problem here, and the jump is kind of slow, which is also kind of a bummer. The super itself, I really don't think it's all that great, unless we can get some of those upgrade points, which obviously we will in the full game. And some of the upgrades included, like, the wave that the Dawnblade actually shot out tracked the enemies, so that could be really good depending on how like efficient the tracking is. And also there was another ability that said Dawnblade would be extended for every kill you got, so this could really change like the meta behind the supers in PvP and PvE, depending on how like efficient those two abilities may become in the actual game itself. So guys, that is about everything I wanted to cover. Now I just want to give my end ratings, so you guys don't have to listen to me ramble on too long, because I have been going for about like 9 minutes or so, I believe, by this point. But for PvP, like I said, the grenade and the jump are really what weighs it down, and the super isn't really all that great. I would rather take a Sentinel over this, so I'm going to give the Warlock, or at least the Dawnblade Warlock, a 6 to 6.5. There is some kind of wiggle room in there, you could argue. And I'm not too sure, but for PvE it does seem really nice. I would give it more of like an 8, because like I said, the grenade is kind of bad, but the Icarus dash is a nice addition, especially for PvE itself. I tried it out a lot in the strike, and it seemed to help quite a bit. So I'm going to give it an 8, because I feel like the super, there's a lot less room for error there, because there's so much more enemies, and the enemies, a lot of them are much bigger than other like heroes or whatever you want to call them, titans, warlocks, hunters. But yeah guys, that does about wrap it up for the video. I'm sure that when the actual game releases and we have the upgrade points, I bet my mind might change a little bit, but I feel like this is a pretty solid overview of the Dawnblade Warlock. So guys, if you did like this video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you have not already. But this has been your boy Cake Man, and I'm out of here. Peace.
You keep taking the upper hand and you're leaving me exposed. I don't think I stand a chance when your feelings never show.